Meghan Markle, wow. As ever, the relaunch was a bigger disaster than anyone could have envisaged.
That's fine, I'll go it alone. Just like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry.
I don't body shame here. I'm just asking a general question. What's up with her face?
We want privacy! We want privacy!
So when she's trying to sell these kind of, I'm sorry, but crappy, cheap tats to middle America.
It's so funny, too, that you keep calling me Megan. You know, it's Megan now.
I feel like the focus is starting to shift off of me. Maybe in editing you'll fix it.
If it's truly what we want, then we really can get away from it all. No more magazines and Netflix shows. We really can live a normal life.
What do you get when a royal steps into the lifestyle market with pastel labels, vague promises, and flower sprinkles? Apparently, a full-blown media storm. Meghan Markle's brand reboot, which was meant to reintroduce her as a polished entrepreneur with a personal touch, is now being dragged through the mud as one of the messiest relaunches of the year. Critics are calling it curated chaos, fans are confused, and the public, they're not exactly rushing to buy what she's selling. The brand, vaguely titled As Ever, promised to offer cozy, homey products, from cookie mixes to decorative pantry items. But instead of building buzz for the right reasons, it set off alarms. Why? Because shortly after its second product drop, the official page claimed it was completely sold out. Sounds like a win, right? Except there's a twist. No one knows how much inventory was even available. There were no public metrics, no restock numbers, and no receipts, just carefully worded posts and conveniently vague updates. That's when the questions started flooding in. Was this really about demand, or just a carefully manufactured illusion of success? Making things murkier, instead of relying on credible business outlets to validate the sellout, the press coverage landed in places more known for red carpet rankings than retail transparency. It didn't help the optics. Rather than proof of popularity, the move came off like a PR smokescreen, pushing narrative over substance. And the deeper people dug, the more the entire thing began to look less like a booming business and more like a royal branding exercise gone sideways. The skepticism really started snowballing when fans began comparing Meghan's social media posts with what they were actually seeing on the website. According to her Instagram story, everything was nearly gone by 8:42 a.m., barely 40 minutes after the supposed restock. But receipts from buyers tell a different story. Products were still available well into the afternoon. The gap between the narrative and the reality was impossible to ignore, and it didn't take long for people to start whispering, was this all just staged? And then came the video. Meghan appeared in a launch day clip meant to celebrate the restock, but instead of radiating excitement or pride, she looked tense. Her eyes avoided the camera, her tone was unusually flat, and the delivery lacked the warmth or spark expected from someone promoting their own brand. Instead of giving CEO energy, it felt like a soft panic broadcast, not a victory lap, but a damage control moment disguised as enthusiasm. The awkwardness didn't stop there. The now infamous sprinkle moment followed, where Meghan, while recording on her phone, reacted to animated iMessage confetti with a confused, is it confetti or is it flower sprinkles? It was meant to be cute. It became a meme. Audiences were baffled by how forced it felt, the kind of performative charm that influencers master but Meghan hadn't quite figured out. The clip was reposted not because of product excitement, but because it embodied everything that felt off about the rollout. Disconnected, overly curated, and awkwardly self-aware. The sprinkle confusion may have gone viral, but not in the way Meghan's team likely hoped. Instead of driving interest in the brand, it drove conversations about just how uncomfortable the launch felt. The video, intended to be a quirky highlight, only amplified the disconnect between the Duchess and her audience. It was supposed to be an awe moment, the kind of relatable, candid clip that fuels viral engagement, but it landed like a scripted line read without the script. There was no charm, no spontaneity, just a woman visibly out of her element, clutching a phone and trying to play it cool as her brand rollout spiraled. Worse still, fans weren't even hyped about the products. The conversation quickly shifted from "what's in the box" to "who's actually buying this stuff?" Because let's be real, the average shopper scrolling past a tea blend or a cookie mix isn't pulling out their wallet for pastel packaging and royal branding. This wasn't an organic groundswell of interest. This was superfans and celebrity media outlets propping up a launch that lacked genuine appeal outside of the echo chamber. And therein lies the real issue. No matter how glossy the graphics or how limited the stock appears to be, buzz can't substitute for substance. As Ever wasn't selling a lifestyle, it was selling scarcity. And that game gets old fast. Casual customers don't want to chase down cookie mix like it's a concert ticket drop. When everything is always almost gone, people stop trying. Exclusivity only works when the product behind it is worth the effort. And if the fake scarcity play wasn't enough, Meghan's next move only fueled the fire. Just as the cookie mix chaos began to fizzle, a new announcement dropped: a rosé. Without warning, without a full campaign rollout, without even a tasting or a behind-the-scenes vineyard feature, just a caption, "Sip, sip, hooray." No context, no details, just vibes. But what really raised eyebrows was the timing. The wine launch was teased for July 1st, a date that happens to be Princess Diana's birthday. Was it coincidence, strategic branding, or a subtle attempt to overshadow headlines tied to her late mother-in-law and, by extension, Prince William? Whatever the intention, the strategy didn't land. Instead of excitement, it triggered confusion. Why promote a completely new product when the existing ones still aren't in stock? Why leap into wine when tea and cookies haven't been established? It came off like a misdirection, something shiny to distract from the deeper cracks in the brand's foundation. A band-aid solution wrapped in filtered aesthetics. And that brings us back to the core problem with As Ever. It's not just the missing inventory or awkward messaging, it's that Meghan Markle, the brand's face, isn't really showing up. She's not baking on camera, she's not sharing kitchen stories, she's not explaining why these blends matter or how they reflect her life. And there's no narrative thread, no evolution, just product drops and press blurbs. And in a market overflowing with founder-led, hands-on lifestyle brands, that kind of distance reads loud and clear. For a brand built around personal touches, there's shockingly little personality on display. Where are the kitchen clips, the recipes, the origin stories behind each item? Instead of heart, we get hashtags. Instead of connection, we get captions. And that silence from Meghan, the absence of any real emotional storytelling, is becoming louder than any PR statement her team can issue. The message is clear. This isn't a passion project. It's a performance. One that leans heavily on aesthetics, curated branding, and a title that's doing all the heavy lifting. Other celebrities in the lifestyle space are everywhere, cooking, demoing, laughing at their own mishaps, building trust through transparency. Meghan, on the other hand, seems to be managing her brand like a side gig she's already bored of. There's no presence, no follow-through, just occasional promotional blips wrapped in perfectly filtered visuals. And fans are noticing. The most loyal supporters may keep reposting and defending every awkward clip, but casual observers are quietly stepping away. Because no matter how luxurious the packaging looks or how exclusive a product is made to seem, people eventually ask the one question that can't be ignored. What's the point of all this? What does As Ever even stand for? Is it about food, family, feminine energy, sustainability, authenticity? Or is it just about maintaining a spotlight without offering anything new? As the glossy marketing starts to peel away, what's left feels less like a brand with vision and more like a collection of distractions. Flower sprinkles, cookie mixes, and now rosé, all launched with surface-level enthusiasm, but none of the soul that gives a brand staying power. And at the centre of it all is Meghan, who seems more interested in the illusion of engagement than actually showing up for the brand she built. At some point, the question stopped being, what is she selling? And shifted to, why is she even doing this? Because with every launch, every caption, every carefully angled selfie video, Meghan Markle's brand feels less like a creative endeavour and more like a mirror, one that reflects the pressure of staying relevant in a space that demands more than just a famous name. As ever isn't a story being told, it's a performance being maintained. And when the performance starts to crack, the audience sees everything. The sad irony is, the concept could have worked. A brand rooted in warmth, tradition, and everyday elegance. That's marketable, that's relatable. But instead of building that bridge to the audience, Meghan seems stuck on a platform, distant, scripted, and oddly disconnected from the very products she's trying to promote. Even fans are beginning to sense the shift. The once devoted support is starting to feel hesitant. The sparkle that surrounded her post-royal glow-up, it's fading, and fast. The truth is, lifestyle branding isn't just about products, it's about presence. It's about being real, being visible, and showing people why they should care. Meghan has the platform, the resources, the global name recognition, but without authenticity, it all becomes static, pretty, polished, but forgettable. And as each new item is teased without a story, and each drop is declared sold out before the average shopper can even click add to cart, the brand begins to feel more like a digital illusion than a tangible experience. And maybe that's the real problem. As Ever isn't failing because it's unpopular, it's struggling because no one really knows what it stands for. And in today's market, that's a fatal flaw. The most telling sign that something isn't working, silence, not just from Meghan, but from the customers. You'd expect social media to be filled with glowing reviews, cozy unboxing videos, and heartfelt captions about how much people love the products. Instead, it's been oddly quiet. The few who do post seem more interested in the packaging than the product itself. There's no buzz, no trend, no grassroots momentum, just flashes of interest that vanish as quickly as they came. And while Meghan's team scrambles to keep the illusion of demand alive, casual buyers are left with questions. Why release something that's always out of stock? Why push scarcity over consistency? Why build a brand around warmth and domestic comfort, only to keep it wrapped in velvet ropes? These aren't the moves of a lifestyle mogul. They're the signals of someone trying to maintain mystique instead of building connection. Then came the pivot, or rather, the distraction. Wine. As if the tea and cookies never happened, the narrative suddenly shifted to rosé, with no lead-up, no campaign, no explanation, just a breezy teaser dropped into a sea of unanswered questions. And while some saw it as Meghan expanding her empire, others saw it as a panic move. When one product line flops or fades, launch another, change the subject, keep the spotlight moving. But even that couldn't mask the core issue. There's no centre to this brand, no soul, just curated visuals and royal residue. The more polished the presentation, the more people start to notice what's missing, a reason to care. Because without that, As Ever becomes what no brand ever wants to be, forgettable. At the end of the day, As Ever isn't about jam jars, sprinkle pouches, or Instagram captions. It's about an image, a carefully maintained persona wrapped in soft branding and royal nostalgia. But even the most polished image can't survive without substance. And that's the quiet unraveling happening right now. Meghan Markle's venture into the lifestyle space didn't stumble because she's unlikable or untalented. It faltered because it feels hollow. A brand built on aesthetics can only go so far when there's no story anchoring it, no authenticity pulling people in, and no leader willing to stand behind it in a real, human way. This isn't about whether she's capable, it's about whether she's present. Because the truth is, if Meghan believed in this brand the way she wants her audience to, we'd see her in the details. Not just her name, not just her voiceover, but her actual presence. baking, sharing, connecting. Instead, she's standing behind the curtain, letting pre-scheduled posts and anonymous PR lines do the talking. And that absence is louder than any headline. So what is, as ever, really? A business with a vision, or a vanity project trying to coast on borrowed prestige? One that teases exclusivity but delivers confusion. One that claims intimacy but offers nothing personal. In the world of celebrity brands, authenticity is the new currency, and right now this one's running on fumes. Whether this is a momentary stumble or the start of something more serious remains to be seen. But the curtain's lifting, and people are watching. Because in an age where transparency is everything, the most dangerous thing a brand can be is vague.